Hello, it's April from April's Home, and today I'm here to make a fun dessert recipe. It is quick and easy, and I think it'll be perfect for the early fall here. I'm making an apple pie bubble up. So the ingredients are very simple here. I've got some cinnamon, I've got a can of apple pie filling. This is a 21-ounce can, and I've got some Grands Biscuits. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use just 1 pack of biscuits or 2. This is a 16-ounce can with 8 biscuits, so I got 2 just in case. I'm gonna start with this first one here, and if it looks like I need a little bit more, I'll break into this second container. And if I don't use all of the second container, I'll just go ahead and cook up the biscuits separately, but we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by popping open this can of Grands Biscuits and cutting each biscuit into 4 pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it in this bowl here. And I've also got a 9x13 pan out, and I'll coat that with pan spray, and I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so here I've got a can and a half of my biscuits cut up. This looks like quite a bit, so I'm going to wait to cut up these 4 until I see how well these mix in. I was going to put them right into the bowl, but I think first I'm going to go ahead and open up my apple pie filling here and add it to the bowl here so that I can mix in my cinnamon seasoning really thoroughly. So I've got my pie filling in the bowl here, in the mixing bowl, and I've noticed that it is the type of pie filling, instead of being little cut up pieces like some of the other brands I've had in the past, they are whole slices of apples. So I'm going to go ahead and break these slices up first. And I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I'm going to break these up into probably like 3 or 4 sections per segment here. That way it'll distribute through the biscuit dough really nicely. So I'll come back when that's all done and we'll add the cinnamon. And now I'm going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. There we go. I'm going to go ahead now and get the cinnamon all stirred in here to the apple pie filling. Looks like there's another apple I didn't get cut up all the way. Get that cut up too. And then I will mix in my biscuits. Okay, the cinnamon is all mixed in. This looks like a lot of cinnamon. I really love cinnamon. If you don't like cinnamon as much, you may want to add only a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half. We'll have to see how this recipe turns out, and I'll let you know if the cinnamon was a little too much or just right. But I think it'll go good. We've got all these biscuits to cover here. So I'm going to go ahead now and get these biscuits into the bowl here. And I'm going to use the spoon to toss these around. Make sure that all the pieces are thoroughly coated with cinnamon and apple and all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed together, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, I've got this all stirred together. I went ahead and added the additional 4 biscuits, also cut up into 4 pieces. So this was 2 full cans of the 8-pack of the Grands Biscuits in with the 1 can of apple pie filling chopped up with the 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So now I'm going to go ahead and spray my 9x13 pan and transfer the apple pie biscuits to the pan here and get that in my 350 degree oven. So here's what it looks like in my 9x13 pan. It absolutely smells delicious. I'm really excited to see how this will bake up. It's supposed to bake at 350 degrees between 25 and 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in and check it at 20 minutes just to see how it's doing. This sugar and biscuit combo could burn very quickly with all the sugar that's in here. And of course, these biscuits sometimes like to cook on the outside and not in the inside. So we will see how this goes. Really excited and eager to see how it turns out. I made sure to give it a very good coating of cooking spray so it won't stick. So we're going to go ahead and get this baking. When it comes out of the oven, we will let this cool a little bit while we mix up a glaze, a simple glaze with some powdered sugar, vanilla, and water. And then we'll drizzle that over the top. So I'll show you that when this is done baking. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this in the oven, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's all baked up. Here is our absolutely delicious smelling and delicious looking apple pie bubble up out of the oven. I ended up leaving it in the oven for 35 minutes, again at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I used a knife to kind of go through and double check that it was cooked all the way through into the center and everything. It looks absolutely delicious again. It's golden brown and bubbly goodness. Now I'm going to go ahead and let this cool for a bit and make a glaze to put on top of this. So for the glaze, we'll use about a cup of powdered sugar, half a teaspoon of vanilla, and originally I said water, but I think I'll go ahead and make this glaze with milk so it's just a little bit more creamy and good. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I've put about a cup of powdered sugar in a bowl here. I'm just going to start by adding a little splash of milk here. It's probably about a tablespoon. Just kind of stirring it up and seeing where we're at. You don't want it to be too thin, but if it is, you just add a little bit more powdered sugar. That must have been a little bit more than a tablespoon because this is really thin already. Probably add a little bit more powdered sugar here. Just about another half cup. I don't like super thin glaze. I like it to have a little bit of substance. And again, if I added too much powdered sugar, I just add a little bit of splash more of the milk. So I'm going to go ahead and keep stirring this until it's a nice smooth glaze and that the lumps are all worked out. Also, right now I think I'm going to add just the teeniest splash of vanilla there. That was less than half a teaspoon. Just giving a nice vanilla flavor there. And I like to use the back of the spoon to kind of break up any of the powdered sugar clumps. Just keep stirring until it's nice and smooth. I might add a little bit more powdered sugar here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set my camera down and give this a good stir, and I'll come back to show you what that looks like. Okay, my glaze is finished. I had to add a little bit more powdered sugar, but again, this is just about mixing it until you get the consistency you want. If it's a little too thick, add a little bit more milk. If it's a little too thin, add a little bit more powdered sugar. If you want it to be a pure white color, you can use a clear vanilla extract, but I never really worry about that. I just use standard vanilla extract, and it has a little bit of an off-white appearance, but that's okay. It'll be delicious and it'll look really good. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring my glaze over to my apple pie bubble up. I'm just going to take a spoon and let the glaze drizzle off of the spoon all around the top. Just like so. So now I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down and finish glazing my apple pie bubble up. Okay, so here's our apple pie bubble up, all glazed, and it's cooled down a bit. It looks absolutely delicious, so I thought that I would go ahead and try some first. It's going to make a really nice dessert for tonight after dinner. You can see all the different parts of the biscuit. It looks really good. There we go. Okay, so let's give this a try. Okay, make sure to get a little apple in there. And it turned out really good. The 2 teaspoons of cinnamon is just right. It definitely spreads around and gives it a good flavor. The glaze is nice, the apples are nice, and this is definitely a really nice, easy fall dessert. Apple pie bubble up. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this recipe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.